Hey, so I wanted to make a quick video on how to get some data sets accessible from the internet onto RStudio uh, for your project. So I'm going to go through a couple of different ways in which you might access your data. The first is actually through OpenIntro, which are the folks who make our textbook. They have a big set of a variety of data sets. If you Google OpenIntro data sets, you'll see it's the first thing that pops up. And here you'll see a ton of really interesting data set ranging from fast food restaurants, which you probably done in your lab, to Duke student GPA. There's something about Mario Kart on here, earthquakes. So there's a ton. And if you, for instance, run library open intro, right? And then guess I should do this in here. If I run library open intro, and if I look up the data and I just say data, let's say Mario Kart, let's do it. You can see it pops up. Let's see it. All right. I'm not sure what this is actually showing. It looks like eBay. Let's see if I click on Mario Kart. Well, Mario Kart auctions. So there's the data set. If I wanted to look for a different one, I could just type in, here's a little bit one that's a little more intuitive, murders. Okay, and if I show, for instance, glimpse murders, here's what I can get: population, percent in poverty, percent unemployed, annual murders per million. Okay. So it's a data set about sort of the socioeconomic factors behind murders. Okay. So that's if you're getting the data set from OpenIntro, and hopefully there's some cool ones for you. Another way to get data sets are ones that are hosted on the internet, especially through GitHub. Okay. So if I type in Titanic data set GitHub, and then it's kind of helpful to type in CSV, which I'll explain what it stands for. But I click on here, you can see a data table. You're like, oh, this is awesome. If I click on raw, this is the actual file. Titanic.csv stands for comma separated values. And you can see how all of the values are separated by commas. That's sort of the grammar that they use to identify what belongs to which column. Anyway, if I want to use this data set, I actually just copy this line of code. I use the following line of code, let's call it Titanic data set. I do read.csv, obviously we talked about why, and I put it in quotes, okay? Now, I've introduced it as a data set. The last step is I need to make it a tibble. That's the that's the data format that we've been using with Tidyverse. So all of the data you've used, the flights or Arbuthnot data sets are called tibbles. So you just need to also run it in this function called tibble, which makes your data set into a tibble. So now I can click on it and it'll show as you've seen before. So there's the Titanic data set for you. The last way I want to bring up how to import data is if you actually download the CSV file. So for instance, here I found the data set hosted by Kaggle. Here it is down here. Oops. Okay. Here it is down here. And you can see I have a download button. I'm going to download it. Oops. Sorry. Here we go. Finance website. Here it is, the Titanic data set. I found it, titanic.csv. I'm gonna open it up. It's in my my downloads right here. Okay. I can open it up. This one will open in numbers, but if you're opening from Windows, it'll probably open in Excel. Here's the data set. It's actually a little bit different than the one we've looked at, but it'll work. Right now it's in my downloads. Okay. So what I can do, I can move it to a more appropriate spot. Let's say I move it to my documents folder. Okay. And I go back and find it, titanic.csv. I can go to get info. I can copy this. And over here, I'll put in Titanic dataset read.csv. And then over here, I just have to write titanic.csv. I might get this and press OK. And so now it's actually going into my computer. And yeah, this is the one, right? Right. So now it's actually going into my computer. It's going users. This is obviously my own folder, documents folder, titanic.csv. Okay. As was the case before, I might want to make that a tibble so that I can do tidyverse operations, right? So I can do something like Titanic data set, summarize mean bear is equal to mean of, let's see what the data is called. There. There you go, $32. Okay. So that's the three ways, most common ways I envision you'll import data for this project. Again, if you have any trouble, just contact one of your teachers. But also bear in mind, there's a ton of different data sets from OpenIntro, for instance, online. And so if you're having a lot of trouble with one, it might be worth just doing a quick look around for other relevant data sets. Anyway, hope that's helpful. Good luck with your project.